across the world to find you. Yeah, to find you. I'd run around till the sun went down. Travel across the world to find you. Yeah, to find you. I'd run around till the sun went down. I travel across the world to find you. Yeah, to find you. I'd run around till the sun went down.
Why does love have to be so difficult? Why does love have to involve fear? Why did it kill the passion inside of us instead of keeping us both near? The answers to my questions continue to elude me. I wanted us to plant a love seed in harmony, to help love erect into a love nest where I no longer have to pray or wonder who's next. I wanted you to be the one and only one I see. Instead, the quest for your love has blinded me. As I set sail, my heart ran stale. Your love language was unreadable. I can't read Braille. When communication was fading, I tried to sign. Sadly, it was another empty journey. Your love wasn't mine. Am I looking too hard in the wrong places, or searching the wrong hearts, or entertaining the wrong faces? Every time I think I found love, oasis of food. Please show me the right pathway to find you. I need to know how to navigate love in place and time. Hope is all I have, and praying to God for a sign. If I can't find love to strip around, then I'm through. My heart is weary and tired trying to find you. If you're real and truly exist, kiss me tonight and let love manifest.
I travel across the world to find you. Yeah, to find you.
Welcome to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. And on today's show, I have my relationship panel. That's right. I'll pull a panel of people so we can talk about relationships and the impact on us and get some tools that we can use to survive relationships. And in particular, this time, we're talking about the holiday season. So before we start our conversation, I would like to welcome my guest. So I'm just going to go to As I See It. I'm going to start with James. Welcome, James.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
Doing well.
Yeah, to say, my name is James W. Smith. I am married, been married for 27 years. Hopefully, we can have some discussions that will resonate with everyone, because I think at this point, everybody, no matter how long you're in the game or how short in the game, everybody can definitely use some pointers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, James. Let me go to Jackie next. Welcome, Jackie.
Hello, I'm Jackie. I am in Texas and I'm single.
All right, Texas. And for our listeners, this is not a dating podcast. So don't think we're trying to hook people up and all that. We just kind of sharing our experiences and where we're at. So let's keep that in mind. But if it happens, things happen. Let's go to my next guest, Darius. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? My name is Darius Dempsey. I am from Texas, and I am in a growing relationship.
I like that term, growing relationship. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And next person is Millie. Do you want me to call you Millie or Millicent?
You can call me Millie.
Because I'll go between the two. Sometimes I say Millicent, sometimes I would say Millie. So welcome, Millie.
Thank you. This is Millicent Meadows. I'm from Connecticut, and I am single.
All right, there we go. Now let's go down to my couple here, the Hughes. We have Jimin and April. Welcome.
How y'all doing? I'm
Hi.
life coach Jay Hughes.
Hi, I'm April Autumn, and we are married for
Couple months.
a couple of months, not even a year yet.
It's not our first go around, so
No.
yeah.
Well, we like to welcome the newlyweds to the show, and we're going to unpack that because a lot of us here have been married before,
Right.
and a few of us not at all, and we're going to unpack all that. But let me get to my next guest, and we'll get started. Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Hello, I am Stephanie. I am in Texas, born and raised from Texas. I am single and go Cowboys.
Okay. I'm the host, Mark Braxton. And yes, I am single. I've been married before, but I'm single. And for once, I can say, go Panthers. Yes, we won by 1 point today, but it is what it is. You know, winning or losing, you know, I still support my team. We all support our teams. And right now, this is our team, the relationship panel. So let's do it. Let's do it this way. Let's start off with the main question for tonight that we can unpack. What is the purpose of a romantic relationship? And then after we talk about the purpose, and I guess it kind of coincides, you know, what is a romantic relationship? Anybody want to jump in with that? I'll start off. How about that? Just my view, just how I view it. When I think about a romantic relationship, there's a couple of things I think about. You know, of course, we start off with the physical intimacy. A lot of times we think romance is, you know, the hugging, the kissing, the touching, and all the things that happen with that. But I feel like as a relationship grows and you get beyond the physical, you start having that emotional connection, that mental connection, and sometimes that spiritual connection. So when I think about a romantic relationship, that's what I see. And that could be, it can come in many different forms. You know, it could be a love letter. It could be a song. It could be, you know, a night on a town walking, holding hands. So for me, it means so many different things. But you know what? This is not just about me. So I want to hear what some of you think a romantic relationship means to you.
This is April. I'll go. I would say companionship, right? And I appreciate that you said like the surface level stuff, Mark, is the physicalities of it. But for me, it's much the intellectual, emotional, spiritual. And then that, in my mind, enhances all the physicalities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely have to agree on that. I mean, if you don't have companionship and you don't have, you know, the other matching qualities on the spiritual, intellectual, and emotional level, I think you have to kind of pick and choose how you do your romance because it's not all the way aligned. So if you have that, then you have a pretty good shot at some good romance because you can approach romance from each level, you know, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and emotional. So definitely have to have that compatibility and match on those other levels.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That was from my married couple, so it's good to hear. Darius, I think you're about to jump in.
Yes. So I agree with what everyone has said. I think one of the defining ways of defining romantic relationship is being with a person or somebody that you would do things with that you normally would not do with anybody else. So having those bonds and connections with this person, where you will share things with them that you will not do with someone else. So I think that is probably one of the ways to define it.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. James, Jackie, Millie, or Stephanie? Oh, Stephanie got it.
Yeah, I also agree with what everyone else said about the companionship and the emotional intimacy and all of that. The way I can describe a relationship is in comparison to being single. So having someone who is for you, who is your person. Kind of like you said, we're on a team. It's hard. You can do things by yourself, but it's a lot easier when there's somebody else with you, but also knowing that you're not just here on this planet by yourself. There's someone who has your best interest at heart and who may not agree with you, but they still support you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to have that team. That teamwork is so important. Let me go to James real quick, because you also on the team. So you have a partner, although she's not here, but she's here in spirit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everything everyone said is correct. I think the companionship aspect, the being able to communicate beyond the physical things of that nature, but the romantic part, I would tell you that sometimes, unfortunately, the longer you're into it, when kids get involved, when careers and things of that nature, the romantic part is normally the first part to go. And one, or I wouldn't say go, to suffer. Because what happens is, like, our kids are grown and gone and all out of the house, and when you drop the last one off, and then you come back home to this empty nest, and you're sitting down those first couple of weeks looking at each other, because so much time that you had was geared towards raising kids, career, and you were thinking that, okay, these are wins. They graduate from college, they have jobs, they're doing these great things. But for years, you went by not taking care of those things. And so what happens is that, like when me and my wife, when we sat down, when the last kid got out the house, and we're looking at each other like, okay, who are you?
Wow.
Just because all that time. And so that's why when they say that romantic part, that's always sometimes the first to kind of suffer, and then sometimes it's the hardest to get back in place, because you literally have to relearn a person that you've been with for 20, almost 30 years. I hope that makes sense.
Very much so, it does. Yes. Thank you, James, for sharing. Can we get Millie or Jackie? What's your input?
Again, I agree with what everybody said. I'm going to piggyback on what Stephanie said about trust, and you know, the couple may not agree. Being single, and sometimes I wonder, you know, when you have that companion, it's like it's nice to have a companion that you can be honest with, even if they don't want to hear that truth, but you're going to be honest with that person. You understand what I'm saying? That's important in building each other up, supporting each other. To me, that's really important. And like Darius said, you do things with them that you wouldn't do with nobody else. You know what I'm saying? You're getting comfortable with them and everything. And that's important also. But I again, I'm gonna go back to, because I've been in situations where, you know, if I was honest with somebody, they didn't like it. They got offended. And I felt like I was doing something right. And I said to myself, maybe he ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying to myself? Like, well, what did I do? You know, because I see, you know, and I cared about this person. And it's like, you know, I said, well, maybe you should do this, maybe do. It was a situation where I knew somebody else. If I took them to a family reunion or cookout, I knew somebody would say something about the situation that I was talking about.
Right.
And then I would have to speak up, you know, because I care about this person. You ain't gonna sit there and talk about him because, you know, because I care about this person. So, but he, you know, he got offended, and I was like, I'm not gonna sit there and argue. I'm just being honest. And like she said, it may hurt. They may not want to hear it. But, you know, I ran into that situation. I didn't like it. And so I'm just thinking to myself, well, maybe I shouldn't speak up going forward. You know what I'm saying? But if it's for their good, you know, but I've been in that situation as a single person. But I like what she said, you know, you be honest, and maybe it's something they don't want to hear and you two don't agree. But it was for his good. But I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you for sharing that, Billy. That what you said is very important. You have to be honest with people, and that trust, that's where that trust comes from. Jackie, you want to share something?
Well, I agree with, you know, what everybody else has said, like everybody's saying. But most important for me is the companionship and the trust with somebody that you're in a relationship, as far as like coming from, being married to now being single, that's something I really miss. And then like when you have things that you need to do around the house and decisions to make and everything like that, I miss having that other person to be able to bounce ideas off of. So,
Right.
Companionship mostly.
And that companionship is so important in so many different ways in that relationship. But even to get there, you have to be vulnerable, and I think for some of us, that's a challenge. I know for myself, it's a challenge to be vulnerable, to be able to open up completely to somebody, especially if we're not quite on the same page. We're sort of on the page. We're flipping, we're turning books, not books, we're turning pages, but we're not on the same chapter, So let's talk before we get into the holiday part of it. Why are these relationships so important to us? Why are romantic relationships, or even if it's just a friendship, why are they so important for us, as human beings? I think Stephanie can unpack that for us. I'm just going to look over here as she tries to figure out what I just said. I know you got something for us.
As human beings, we were not placed upon this earth to be alone. Mating and legacy and even survival of the fittest, it's all about togetherness and connection. So we crave relationships. We come out of the womb wanting to connect and wanting relationships. And so that's a big part of us as human beings. Some people want to be, some people are alone. But for the majority of us, we crave connection, either with family, friends, coworkers, partners.
Absolutely. And with that, I want to talk about trust. I'm sitting here taking notes as we're talking, and there's different things popping into my mind. We're still gonna get to the holiday stuff, but trust. That's another area where I struggle, because you have people that may have interest in you, as a single person. But to get to where our married couples are, at some point we have to be able to trust people to be in our personal spaces, to be in our heart space, to be in our head space, to know, what we're going through as individuals. How do we get there? Because I think that's a challenge. That's like one of those journeys you walk in and you never see the end, and you're trying to figure out, how do I get to the point where I can trust someone with who I am as a person?
The question that I always ask, Mark, first is, do you trust yourself?
Facts. There's no need in trying to trust anybody else or seeing if you're gonna trust anybody else if you don't trust yourself. It's really null and void. It's like asking somebody to fix a problem that only you can fix.
Right.
You have to trust yourself, and you have to be comfortable with who you are. You have to love yourself, like yourself, and think highly of yourself, but not highly to the point where it's it's a handout here. But trust is something that you give in, when it's earned, but you can only give it when you have it to give. And because you don't trust yourself, that means you don't have it to give. So you got to get to a point where you trust yourself first to be in certain spaces, to be around certain people, to love again, to even trust again. And so trusting yourself before trying to trust somebody else, or allowing somebody to trust you, because we spend a lot of time worrying about if we're going to trust that person, thinking that they're automatically going to trust us. Right. Just in return. Like you forgot the reciprocity part of it. So, but when you're in tune with yourself and trusting yourself, you understand reciprocity comes in that form. So that's where it begins. And we tell our clients that all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. I wrote something down that I like that you said, being able to love again. because sometimes when we go through the divorces and the breakups, we feel like I don't want to love again because I don't want to get hurt again.
Yeah.
But you also have to take that risk, you know, like you said, once you get to know who you are, you do the healing, working on yourself. Now everybody's out to get you. You know, there's some people out there genuinely that want to love you, but we get to that point where we're like, no, I don't trust anybody, you know, nobody. So that's that self-work that we have to do. And like you said, nobody else can do it but ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
But there are people out there to help you along that journey.
Mark, I wanted to say, you were talking about trust, and because I used to be that person. If I was in a relationship with somebody and it ended ugly, I used to bring it to the next one. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I said, Millie, you got to stop doing that, because they have nothing to do with what that person did. And even my girlfriend just say, you can't be bringing the baggage from that one, dragging it into the next one. You can't do that. And healing within yourself is so important. It is so important. You can't jump from one and go right to the next. You cannot do that. Some people can do that. More power to them. But healing within is so important. It is just so important. And but I learned not to bring that baggage onto the next one. Like I said, I'm single right now. And I think as I've gotten older, you know, I don't know if it's young because I'm probably the oldest one on this call. But when I was young, I was wanted to get into a relationship, but now that I'm at that age, it's like, yeah, my peace, I protect my peace big time. I protect my peace big time. And I'm not saying I don't want a relationship. It'd be nice to have that companion to do things with. It's nice to hang with your girlfriend once in a while, but sometimes you want that male. Sometimes I want that male companion to go on trips with, just to do things with. But you know, right now I'm just until that time comes, you know, I'm still healing slowly internally and just taking care of what I need to take care of. But I learned not to carry that baggage from the previous relationship but into the next one, because that could hurt somebody. It could hurt you in the long run.
Yep. And you could lose a good friendship from that, you know. Even if that relationship does not turn into a romantic relationship, it could be a good friendship. You could lose people that way. Just because I want to honor time, we're going to go into the main topic, which is really surviving the holidays. You know, the holiday season, I'm talking about from Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's Eve. It can be a tough time for some people. Not all, you know, and I know it's supposed to be a happy time. We hear all the happy music and the lights and sounds of it all. But people are dealing with so many different things. You know, whether you're married, whether you're single, divorced, we're dealing with family issues. You know, we're dealing with loss of loved ones. We're dealing with, some are dealing with loneliness or feeling like the fifth wheel in a family gathering because you're the only one that's not with somebody, or, you know, all these different things we feel. So I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the challenges that we see, and then let's kind of go into what are some tools or things we can do to help people manage, you know, surviving the holidays without feeling like you're drowning.
I think a big challenge is holidays, one, don't mean the same thing to everybody.
Right.
Everybody didn't have a happy Christmas and you know, Thanksgiving with everybody at the table. So recognizing that holidays or Christmas or Thanksgiving mean something different to everyone. Also, as we age, get older, it's going to look different. Also, the people who were there when we were little, you know, remember sitting at the little kiddie table and all the adults were over here. All of my aunts and uncles are gone. My parents are gone. So my holidays look different now than they did. So then you start mourning or reminiscing and missing the old, what the holidays were, and trying to make new traditions, maybe with your new partner or your new kids. So yeah, just recognizing that when you say holidays, it doesn't mean the same thing to everyone.
Right.
Even your partner.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I agree with everything Stephanie just said. And I think, again, if we're talking about challenges, it's the idea of loneliness of being alone during those times, because a lot of times that is, and again, keeping in mind what Stephanie was saying, that not everybody's holidays were the same, but generally we think of the holidays as being together with people, with friends, family, and all the rest of that. So as you get older, as Stephanie mentioned, you lose a lot of family, and sometimes it's not lost, but there's a lot of separation. People move, right? If you have children that grow up, they move, and so this Christmas may be the year that they have to go to the other family, not your family. They're not coming to see you, to go and see, their spouse's family. So you're alone now. So there's dealing with that. Like, how do you make yourself feel okay with the idea that, okay, this Christmas, this Thanksgiving, whatever, I'm going to be by myself, and so then I don't want to start adding solutions, but you have to deal with those challenges, and then just the memories, dealing with memories. So this is going to be my first year dealing with going through the holidays without my mother. So it's like, just thinking about, it's like just the littlest things that will come up and make me think about it. It's like, oh my gosh, we're getting ready to go through the holidays now, and I have to deal with that. It's like I'm trying to drag on, but just to give an example, there was a show that I would watch with my mother all the time. When she passed and the new season starts, it's like, oh, I want to watch this. Oh, I don't know if I want to watch it now because of my mother. So I'm going, well, if I'm having problems with that now, how am I going to deal with the holidays? So I think that's like some of the challenges that you deal with for the holidays.
Absolutely. And I feel you, because we're on the same boat right now. Like, my dad passed away as well this year. So, you have that mindset that my family has changed. It's evolved now into something that's different. And as the holidays approach, what would that different be? What would it look like? Like you mentioned the show that you and your mom watched. Like, my dad and I, we used to sit and watch football. And now it's like, you look over, it's like, oh, there's nobody there, So you have those times where you try to figure out, what does it look like going forward? And I really wanted to have this discussion before the holidays kick in, because I'm sure there are other people who are going to watch this that would say, I'm going through that same thing. Maybe it's not a loss of a parent. Maybe a child went off to college and you won't see them this year. Maybe it's a spouse that has passed away, or somebody could be ill, or maybe just you got a new job and you have to move somewhere. You're celebrating that you got a new job, but now you have to move somewhere else. So that takes you out of your comfort zone, out of your element. And maybe you have to start over in a new city. So all these things impact us. To the Hughes, y'all have anything you want to add?
I mean, one of the things that you mentioned, and I agree with everything that everyone is saying, when you share custody of children, that's a really huge one. And, if, this year you don't have the holidays, the other person has the holidays. Right. And so you kind of have to construct your life around what it is that you're going to do now. And so just thinking about that and trying to maneuver that, whether you're married or single or divorced or whatever, just managing children. I know some folks in our practice, they just lost a father and they have young children. Yeah. Like very, very young children. And so Thanksgiving, understanding how children and how to help them grieve through that process as well is a whole nother ball of wax. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, the holidays, it should be, it's geared up to be this great season for people. The sounds and lights of everything. But like Stephanie said earlier, it means different things for different people. And you have to figure out, what does it mean for me in this moment? Because it might not be the entire holiday season. It could be just in that moment, could be Christmas is tough, or maybe not, could be Thanksgiving, maybe not, the person that cooked the food on Thanksgiving maybe is not there, and your auntie takes over and it's not the same, and that might cause a little rift in the family. I think we've all been there at times. We get certain family members, not up to par, but
Hey, Mark, I would say that's so funny with that because um, even when me, I think someone alluded to this earlier, when me and Tanya first got married, I had like 21, 22 years of the Christmas and Thanksgiving experiencing with my family. And what we found out early on is that there were two different total traditions, right? And so having to mesh that because like for instance, my family, we ate at like 2:30 and watched the football game, the Cowboy game. Our family ate at 12 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? I trust my mother's cooking. I don't trust somebody else's cooking. Those type of things. Also, I think you mentioned about the custody thing. I had a son at the time, Cameron's 29 now, but at the time he's 3 years old. And the custody agreement was so the first part of Christmas she had him, the second part of Christmas I had him. So there were times, sometimes I may have to leave off years, have to drive to Greensboro or drive from South Carolina to Asheville, where we're living at, to go get him. That's the time my family, I'm away from my family to go get my other family. So those are all those things that definitely holidays, you look forward to them sometimes, but then sometimes you're thinking, okay, you gotta go through this thing again.
right.
So yeah, I can definitely see that.
And before we get, thank you, James. And before we get to somebody else, let me say this. James, I understand what you're saying, but don't get yourself in trouble because your wife is going to hear this. She's going to get you later.
Hey, look. We had that battle years ago. So it's all good. But you're right. I ain't gonna say it in this country.
I miss having her input here too because it's good to hear the husband and wife together. And I know she couldn't be here with us, but let her know.
She'll be giving me some looks right now after I said it, but I still would have said it because we're being transparent. So
absolutely. And Jackie, anything you have regards to maybe some challenges for the holidays?
Yes. My challenge for the holiday is that I've been the caregiver for my mother for the past 12 years. And 2 months ago, I had to ask my sister to take over because it got really difficult with the dynamic between my mother and I. And so those 12 years, my sister and her family didn't come visit us for the holidays. And so it was always just on me to provide the holiday spirit for my mother and everything, and the cook the meals and everything for my mother. And but this year, then I'm like, so do I just back off and let my sister do it since now she's the caregiver for her? But then I'm like, but what if this is the last holidays that I'll have with my mother?
Right.
And then I backed off, and then so I don't have that last year with her. So that's something that I'm wrestling with. And it's not like it's something I can just discuss with my sister because we don't have that type of relationship. So, and my mother's so used to me being around all the time that she wants me still to do everything, to be in charge of everything. But then I was like, well, then this year I get to go be with my friends and hang out with my friends for the holidays. But then it's like, it's the guilt of it all. Like, what do I do? So I'm having that dilemma.
Right. And being a caregiver is tough. Some people think it's easy. Oh, it's just family. No, it's tough because you have to dedicate a lot of your time to support your family. And then you forget about your own personal needs in the process. And it's a real thing. And it takes away that quote unquote hallmark vision of Christmas and the holidays to reality and say, yeah, they're having a great time singing jingle bells and caroling and all this stuff, all the fun stuff, but you're dealing with reality, and a lot of us are dealing with reality in some form of fashion. And in that, you got to find your peace and your happiness. Let's go to Millie, and then we're going to deal with some of that. unpack some of that peace and happiness that we can find somewhere. We're gonna give some tools. Yeah.
For the speaking of holidays, for Thanksgiving, I'm one a month before the holiday come, I get my stuff together. I'm talking about the menu and everything. And they come to my house. I need to know how many people coming and all that stuff. So I lost my brother Todd in June. And so all of my older brothers are gone. They're gone. It was 5 of us. And now I'm the oldest one here. And my son got married in August. So I'm like, I said, Thanksgiving at my house, dinner's at 2:30, and then my daughter-in-law, she said she won't be there. And I said, will you be in Connecticut? She said, yeah. So I got silent. And I think right away, boom, my attitude just hit the roof. And I said, because our family has been, this past 5 years, I lost my mother and 2 brothers. So it's like our family is shrinking. I told my young brother, I said, our family, our internal family is shrinking. And I just felt so, I just got angry, I guess, because it's like you go in the movies with your sister. You just married within this family. And you don't want to, And I said, you know what? I said, I'm not doing Thanksgiving, I'm done. And I'm being honest with y'all. I said, I'm done. I'm not doing Thanksgiving. I said, you know what? I think I'm going away. I'm going on a trip. My younger brother called me on the phone because he knew I was upset. And he said, Millie, don't do that. So he talked to me. Me and my brother, we tight. Me and my brother Tyron, we tight. But he did talk. He talked to me. He talked me out of it. He said, I know you're angry. He said, but don't do that. And he said, still cook. This is what I'm saying. Is it for you, Tyrone? So you can get your to-go containers, that. But he said, no, Millie. He said, Millie, still have dinner, still cook. He said, I'm coming. The family's still coming. Nick said he coming. And bottom line, he ended up talking to her. And he told her, like I said, within this fire, I lost my mother, 2 brothers, and I lost a cousin who was like a sister to me, and which was a shock. So it's like losing folks. I understand it takes a toll on me. And I'm like, I feel like people are just passing away. And so, Nick said he did talk to my daughter-in-law. And so she's coming to help me prep and all that stuff. And then she said she do have to leave. And I don't understand. And I told him, I said, if she don't want to come, don't force her. Do not force her. But he said, no, Ma, she coming. Because he talked to her. And I said, okay. And I just left that alone. But I said, I'm cooking. Because I like to cook. I like family. Even though our family is getting smaller, that's still my family. I still want us to come together. Because that's what my mother would want. She would want us together. She always said family, and family is important, no matter the size. I don't care if it's 3 of y'all. That's still a family. So I said, I'm a cook. My brother's coming over. My son is coming over. I said, I'm gonna still cook. So it's still going to go on. Things happen that is not in my control. But to have a family gathering still here at my house, I said, it's still going to happen.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you definitely got to keep family together. And like you said, it doesn't matter the size of the family. People get stuck on that sometimes. Well, I got a huge family. I got 42 cousins. Well, not everybody has that. Some people might have 3 cousins, might not even have 3. But family is still family. It could be just you and your parent, or you and your spouse, or you and your child. That's still family, And I'm glad you're going to hold up that tradition of bringing that bond, because you don't want to lose that. So let's talk a little bit about, as we're navigating the holidays, I want to hear from the married couples first. Like, as you're navigating the holidays, what do you do to keep that joy and peace going? Because I know there's going to be some married couples that will listen to this that might be thinking, I'm done with the holidays. I don't want to see my spouse. They get on my nerves. They want to go to Black Friday, and I want to go to Green Tuesday, whatever. What is it? What is it that you guys use to help you bond, and that can help some of our single people that might be in a developing relationship? Talk to you, Darius.
I, like a couple of people on this panel, went through it. 2022 was life, and for me, I was in 2 accidents, and then after one accident that almost killed me, a month later, my mother died while everybody's about to enjoy themselves on spring break. And then later on that year, while everybody's about to enjoy New Year's, my father dies. And so I remember those times, especially when my mother died. I remember that time because I went and caught an Uber to go see a friend of mine when we had just got back from the funeral. And the guy just was like, "You're so uplifted. You got this energy about you." And I was like, "Yeah, my mom just died." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Most people are not as happy. Did you hate her or something?" I said, "No, she was a wonderful woman. She was a very powerful woman. One of the few women I know that operated in her femininity from start to finish. But I'm at peace now that she doesn't have to deal with the ailments of being alive." And I had to realize that we as humans like to be selfish. And in being selfish, we want our family to stay alive forever, when that's simply not so. How we mourn the people that we have lost, someday somebody will mourn us the same way. When you have that in your mind and understand that, would my mother want me to wallow in this, or would she want me to remember everything else? Am I doing them a disservice by remembering the fact that they're gone, or am I doing them a service by remembering what they taught me when they were alive, the time that we spent while we were alive? So I say all that to say this: it's a choice. It's a very tough choice because it's fogged by the fact that they're simply not here. You can't call them. You can't reach out to them. You can't even be mad at them for not showing up, or whatever the case may be. But when you're operating from that, you're operating from a selfish side, right? And so we have to say to ourselves, I don't want to be selfish. I didn't create my brother. I didn't create my mom. I didn't create my dad, or whoever we lost along the way. The God that we serve created that person, right? And so since that's the case, I got to be unselfish and understanding that I don't understand, and understanding where I'm at emotionally and mentally, and then choose to remember them how I want to remember them. So somebody on the panel was speaking about, kids and holidays and switching holidays. Listen, I get my daughter rotating Christmas and New Year's, or rotating Thanksgiving and New Year's. But that's what I chose because that's what I wanted to happen. And I wanted to give her the freedom to go still experience both families, because that's what we did when me and her mother were together. Again, it was a choice. And some people are not able to make that choice because of where they're operating from. So what I want to encourage people in this time is when you've lost somebody and the holidays come upon you, don't be selfish and just simply sticking on the point that they're not here. Be unselfish and say, I'm going to remember them how they want me to remember them, and just enjoy whatever moment and memories that come in my head wherever I am, because they are essentially a part of you. They share the same DNA. They share the same mother and or father. They connect to you in some other way. And as long as you keep them alive in your memory, then they're never dead. So be unselfish is something that I would encourage people who have lost somebody or dealing with loss to do in this time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
I'll add a little bit to add to that as a married person, because that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Remembering for me that I know that time is going to be difficult for him, and showing him grace, a lot of grace, not only for his parents, but maybe what he wants to do with his siblings, and also what we choose to do with our children. So there has to come some flexibility and some serious planning.
Right.
So grace and flexibility.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, James.
No, I think what happens, there's a point when we first got married and we were in our early 20s, um, you don't see mortality as much as you see as time goes on, and you start losing parents. And so what happens is early on, you're more so focused on the kids and making sure they're good for the holidays. But what happens, you get to a point now where Tanya, both of her parents are still living, and she makes it a point as every Christmas, Myrtle Beach, it's a big thing because they're in the 80s and late 70s and they're still in good health. And my mother is still here. And so, more so, the holidays, we kind of recognize that those holidays are going to get, there is not as many as there's been. So, what happened is, in our case, we it's not more so focused on the grown, independent, out of the house kids. It's more so trying to cherish that time that you have with the parents you have left. And so holidays actually take on a more special meaning because you're keenly aware that when you're sitting there looking at your mother open gifts or watching your parents do that same argument they do every year, you know there's going to be a time when that's not going to happen. So you kind of look forward to the holidays because you don't know when it's going to be the last.
Absolutely, absolutely. For our single people, and that includes all of us that are not married, so we're all single until we're married. What are some things that you would do with your significant other if you had one, to celebrate this time? Because we don't always want to focus on, oh, I don't have anybody, ain't nothing to do. So let's kind of, for the last few minutes, unpack some tools that we can share with people to help them get through this time. And I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna say, get involved, whether it's volunteering, whether it's getting involved in a workshop, something. There's always something you can do to take your mind off of I'm single. Find like you go like this to the city. They have different activities. Maybe it's a painting class, maybe it's a voiceover workshop. Well, you can just go have fun and enjoy this season. And if you're gonna go shopping, spend some money on yourself too and your family. Yeah, we get that. Go out to eat, treat yourself out to eat. Go to the movies. Plenty of movies out there. Like there are things we can do as single people, but we have to want to get out there to do those things. Like we don't have to feel like, oh, I'm by myself, ain't nobody there, nobody love me. Like what was said earlier, you got to start loving yourself. It starts with you. Stephanie, Jackie, Darius, Millie, anything you want to add to about going through this season and how can one celebrate themselves or enjoy their own company going through this?
I'd have to say, I'll go first. You just said it, volunteer. You mentioned volunteer. And I was telling my brother for Christmas, I may go volunteer at a shelter, feed the homeless and everything, which I've never done before. But I know my mother, she was a part of, I don't know if you heard of Food Share. Anybody ever heard of Food Share? Well, they have it here in Connecticut, and they supply like, food shelters, turkeys, food for all year round. During the holidays, it's all year round. And she volunteered every Friday. Her and my stepdad would go get the canned goods from Food Share and deliver to different food shelters, different churches that have their food pantries and everything. That was important to her. As a matter of fact, when she passed away, what she wanted, she, instead of sending flowers, when she said, Millie, she said, have them donate to Food Share. Have them donate to Food Share. Don't give me flowers because I can't smell them. Have them donate to Food Share. But that was so important to her, giving to those that are less fortunate. And that was so important, like raising 5 kids by herself. And if we struggle, we didn't know it because we always had food. You know what I'm saying? So that was important. I was telling my brother, I said, I'm gonna look into that. I know United Way. You can go on United Way. It shows different shelters that you can volunteer at for the holiday season, even for Thanksgiving or Christmas or for New Year's. So I'm seriously thinking about doing that because I'm not one to sit and mope. I have gone to the movies by myself. I've gone to dinner by myself. And Millie is the type, Saturday morning, I'm there when the store's open because I ain't dealing with a lot of
You get, yeah,
you know, I go out and do things by myself. I
Right.
don't wait for people because
right.
I don't wait for people. I make my plans, what I'm gonna do for this weekend. I'll say, you know what, I'm going to the movies. And that's what I do. So I'm thinking about doing that for the holidays.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Before we get to the end of our show, I'm gonna go ahead and get to my last three single people. Darius, I'm gonna save you for last, sir, because you are in an emerging relationship, and we trying to catch that ship to go where you at. So let's go to Jackie, then to Stephanie.
For the holidays, I've always done we do volunteer work, and that's something we do every year. And we do it for Thanksgiving for one organization, and then Christmas for a different organization where we actually deliver the toys and meals for the family. But now they don't do the meals, they just do gift cards for them. And I always, now that I'm single, buy myself Christmas gifts, 2 or 5 or whatever I want.
Did you say 2 or 5? You just skipped 3.
So
That's
I
how you
know
do
that
it.
I'm always getting Christmas gifts. So I
Right.
always do that for myself.
And you're gonna get exactly what you want.
Exactly.
All right, that sounds. Look, you got to treat yourself. You got to show that self-love. Let me go to
Right.
Stephanie, and then we're gonna bring this to a close, and I'll explain to our listeners how we're gonna close this out.
So for me personally, I have to recognize when I'm feeling lonely as opposed to alone, because as an introvert, I love being alone. So being alone means you are by yourself, but you don't have to be lonely when you are alone. So I have to recognize my feelings of loneliness, because loneliness falls under sadness, right? And so when you recognize that you are sad, you do what you need to do when you are sad. If that means reaching out to a friend, if that means hanging with somebody, if that means going for a walk, do what you need to do when you are feeling sad. And just because you're alone doesn't mean you feel lonely. So I have to recognize the difference, because I'm real good at not recognizing my emotions, believe it or not. So I have to tell myself I'm feeling lonely, therefore I need to do what makes me, feel better and not feel sad. So,
And sometimes that just means being around other people. Like if I'm feeling that moment of, man, it's just me. Let me go to the store. I really don't need anything. I just need to see other people. I'm not going to talk to them because I don't want to talk to them. I just need to see people.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll buy something, or maybe not. And then I'm good. I just saw people. I was around people. Now I can go back to the house and chill out and be in my space, and that's what we have to do. Darius, the emerging relationship. So what do you do in this time?
So there was a lot of good points made, and I'm gonna have to piggyback on what Stephanie was just saying. So unlike Stephanie, I am more of an ambivert. I like being around people, but I'm not like the, when I come into the place, everybody's like, oh, Darius is here, but I like being around people. So for me, I will start to feel lonely if I'm by myself for a long time. And so that's why even at, working at home, I will go work at, I will take my laptop and go to, Starbucks or something, just so I can be around people and change my environment. So like many of you have said, my plans, yes, I'm in a relationship, but we're in a new relationship, and they've already had family plans and stuff that don't include me. So, that's not going to be an option. But and both of my kids are away at college. My son's like a good 5-6 hours away, and he's graduating in December. So we're not going to have him, come Thanksgiving and then we go back out there in December. So that's off. That's not going to happen. So, and so then my daughter has a choice to come see me or go spend time with her mother. I'm not going to force her to make that decision. Like I'm not going to be like, oh, you should come see me. Put pressure on her. If she chooses a mother, I'm good with it, right? But So for me, it's just really, I just know, like Stephanie said, if I recognize that I'm feeling a certain way, okay, I just need to get out, go somewhere, do something, be around people. So my thought is, like you have mentioned, I might go to a movie. That might be, hopefully something good will come out, but they haven't been doing too well these last couple of years with movies. But I might go see a movie, or just go somewhere where I know I'm gonna be able to see people. Maybe my friends will be planning to do something after the Thanksgiving meal. Hey, let's go hang out so and so. So I'll meet them there. But it's really just like Stephanie says, recognizing, when you start to feel sad or feel bad about being alone, and figuring out what would you do to make yourself feel better, like what makes you happy or makes you not feel loneliness, and then do something, about that to deal with it. So
Absolutely. But Darius, thank you for sharing that. And that is one of the challenges when you are in a new relationship. You're not quite a part of the family or crew yet. You're getting there, but you're not quite included in all the plans. So you have to have a plan A, plan B, maybe even a plan C to do things by yourself or with other people, your friends and maybe other family. Just for time purposes, this is part one of part two. So wanted to come on and talk briefly about, romantic relationships, surviving the holidays. And we've talked about quite a few different things. We can't give you all the tools. So anybody listening, we don't have all the answers for you, but hopefully this will spark some type of conversation within your own inner circles. You can kind of talk to your friends, your spouse, or significant other, which might not be your spouse, just somebody you're kicking it with. And the two of you can, or three or four, or a group, however many, can talk about how could we make it through this holiday season? What is it that we need to do to get us where we need to go? And how you're going to do it. Some of us are, introverts, some are ambiverts, some are extroverts. So it depends on your vert and how you want to proceed forward, So yeah, but to the panel, thank you for being here. Normally I would ask everybody to leave, words of encouragement. I'm going to ask you to do that, but keep it under about a little bit less than a minute, and then that way we can honor everybody's time, and then we can wrap things up. So I'm going to throw to Stephanie. Sorry, I put you out there.
Dang it. Alone and lonely. You can be alone by yourself. You can feel lonely even with a group of people. So recognize, like Darius said, recognize those emotions. Also, if you are lonely and you're sad, it's okay. Like, sad is an emotion that we have for a reason, is to remind us that we missed someone, we lost someone, but we did love someone. So don't run away from sadness. Recognize it, feel it, and keep it moving. I mean, you're a human being. You're going to be sad.
Not all the time, but yes, you're going to be sad. Sometimes, yeah. Don't be sad because you're a human being, or don't be a sad human being, but feel those emotions. There we go. Let me go to Millie. Sorry, y'all. I'm a little silly at times.
The only thing I can say is, one thing was important to me, is that continue to love yourself. And just keep your head up. Life is not perfect. It's not perfect. And you can't fix somebody if they're broken because you didn't break them in the first place. You can sit there and listen to them, but you can't, don't feel like, another thing I learned, you can't be everything to everybody. You have to take care of yourself first. Okay. And just love yourself. So that's the advice I have.
Absolutely. Millie, did I hear you say you can break a toy, but you can't break a person? I'm kidding with you. Okay. Sorry, Millie. I'm going to throw something out there. Let's go to Darius, and then we'll go to Jackie, then we'll go to our couples and then I'll wrap things up.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go back to our first topic about romantic relationships. And I would just like to say that I think that it's good to understand and kind of get an idea of what that looks like to you. What does romantic relationships look like to you? What does relationships look like to you? What is your expectation? And then being able to put that to words and being able to communicate that with the people that you are dating, so that as you're developing that relationship, as you're going through the process, you can recognize, hey, whether or not you're compatible or not, so, because I feel like a lot of times people will jump into relationships just because there's that chemistry, but they didn't think about the outcome and their expectations down the road of what a relationship is. And then now you got problems and issues later on. So I would just say, know what that is. And yeah.
Thank you, Darius. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to Jackie, then we'll go to James.
I say to always honor yourself and do things that make you happy. And as far as the holidays go, to create traditions with your friends, and that way, like whether you're in a relationship or not, you always have that. It's not going to go away just because you're not in a relationship. You still have your friend relationships. And so that whatever you've created will always be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your friends, those relationships are also important. So thank you very much. James. Now we got to keep it under a minute, James, because I'm trying to wrap us up. Yeah, I think you're muted. So go ahead and unmute your mic, sir.
This might be 25 seconds. No, I think 11 hit. Sorry about that. No, I think I'll go back to what my one thing my late father always used to say, and the older I get, the more it makes sense. He said, to thine own self be true. And I think that even when you get married, sometimes you find yourself losing so much of yourself for the sake of the relationship. But I will tell anyone, the longer you're in the game, be true to yourself and don't let what other people or other relationships do be a measuring stick to how you do your own household. I think those two things right there, I think will be pretty good.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, James. Sorry for calling you out, bro. You didn't push your mic, but we got you. I got you. James and I go way back, so I can joke with him like that.
We go 34 years.
Yeah. So let me go. Thank you. Let me go to my last couple here, and that's the Hughes. If y'all can share some words of wisdom, and then I'll wrap us up.
Okay.
I would first say, to piggyback off of a couple of people, being true to yourself, never stop dating you. Never stop dating you. And so whether you're married, whether you're single, in a situationship, whatever, continue to date you. And throughout the holidays, just continue to give yourself grace. As Stephanie said, your feelings are your feelings. It's okay to have them, and give yourself grace when they come up.
Yeah, it's just understand who you are, love who you are, and understand who you are before you try to understand somebody else. And when you do get that person who wants to understand you, give yourself and them grace, because you're both in that state of understanding. And so once something is understood, then you can move from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. And for my panel, thank you for being here. I call you guys the relationship panel, and it evolves, it changes. I start rotating people in and out. But this is part 1 of 2. Part 2 will be in February, and just in time for Valentine's Day. We can unpack some things there. Hopefully, we can make some love connections with people out there in the world, and they can find love. But my podcast is called Living Life of Love, and let me say this real quick before I wrap us up. For people out there, I do talk about love a lot, because that is one of the things that we need in this world. This world is in chaos. We need to see love, not just loving of your family or loving your spouse and significant other, friends, but loving that stranger on the street, loving your coworkers, but most of all, looking in the mirror and telling yourself, I love you, because we don't do enough of that. Learn how to love you. As I've heard many times on here, start self-dating. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You have been listening to Living Life and Love with your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you. Y'all take care, peace, and remember to tell somebody I love you.
Sweet love is like a fairy tale, most will never understand this. I've rubbed the magic lamp to ask only for one wish. My wish was granted at midnight for a chance at your love. May I kiss you slowly under the moonlit night as we hug? We express our love intimately because this is how we feel. I present to you on this day a diamond ring as I kneel. This is not fiction, a fantasy, or a movie reel. We can let our guards down as our layers start to peel. Our souls are witnesses to our expressions of tenderness. We've advanced across the world, embracing our very essence. You're magnificent, extremely beautiful. God made you a masterpiece. Let's celebrate in gloss-covered happiness and let our love release. Our love doesn't have to be hidden or even subtle. May I kiss you forever, whisper good night as we cuddle. Let our past be the past, embrace joy, not sorrow. Some say love is temporary, I say our love is everlasting and beyond tomorrow. We know our love languages are new to us. And with God as our guide, we can together build our trust. Take my hands, feel love in development. Let's expand our relationship with each loving advancement. Hold me tight. Yeah, we're both ready for this. Past lessons learned, love forever is our gist. Stargazing with you, etching love on the moon. Loving you endlessly. Good night, my love. I'll see you soon.